Good morning. Good morning. Shall we? Let's get this show on the road. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's wind down the music, shall we? Oh, oh. This is the Motivator Show, usually alongside Empress Abner. Oh, yeah. I'm feeling good again this morning. Yeah, I've been out and I've run, exercised my body. Oh, I feel so good. Oh, yeah. First of all, let's give a quick rise up to Ian King, who's taken us from night to day, and give praise and enough respect, of course, to the Galaxy, Afui.net, massive, and the management too. Long may you continue. Praise be, praise be. I'm feeling good again this morning. Yes, I'm feeling good. I feel so alive. Yes, I feel so alive. Yeah. Oh, it's been a tremendous week. A week where I've learned, a week for really true encouragement as to why these shows are so important. I met some truly inspirational people this week. And, you know, the future is bright. I say again, the future is bright. Remember, success is ours for the taking. Because here on this show, on the Motivator Show, this is where we translate our words into action. We would never stop, you know. We're not just a talking shop, huh? Long may continue as such. Now, Empress Abner will not be joining us today. She's off improving herself, raising her consciousness, spreading her knowledge, yeah? But she'll be with us next strong, don't you worry. That's what happens to all of my co-presenters. They're inspired to continue to improve, to thrive, to grow as human beings. Long may continue such. That's the purpose of these shows, yeah? These are empowerment shows, edutainment, but educational, but entertaining whilst being educational. Yes, that's why we do these shows. I want to give praise before I go into the health section for my guest last week. What they outstanding, yeah, of Black business recommendations, yeah, an ever-growing website and Facebook page with over 5,000 solid entrepreneurs. Yeah, we can recommend. I want to give praise and give a big thumbs up to both Hugh and his lovely wife, Lorraine. Well done to you both. And if there's anyone here who's interested to join the Black Business recommendations, okay, I'm going to give you their details. In fact, just use your search engine, Black Business recommendations, okay? It's an organization I can commend to you, okay? They are a solid organization. I repeat, a solid organization. And I do not use such words lightly. I do my due diligence. And I look forward to working with them in the future because the network that's growing and will continue to grow, yeah, has got to spread right across London here in Britain and across Britain and beyond. We look forward to your growth, Hugh and Lorraine. Long may you continue in your great works. Okay? I also want to give a big shout out again to Dr. Carlton Brown, the author of the Black Entrepreneurs Report 2021, a seminal document that provides an overview of African people's, Black people's position, economic position here in Britain. a seminal report providing good and solid evidence as to how it's possible to raise our economic position here in Britain, yeah? And what the policymakers need to do in order to create those positive conditions. Because if the African or Black communities rise, economically speaking, Britain rises also. It's good for Britain. It's good for business. Support Dr. Carlton Brown. Obtain a copy of the Black Entrepreneurs Report 2021. Again, just put in your search engine. It would appear. And if those of you who are on my mailing list, please just review the previous show and you'll see the link to the report. Okay? I commend the report to you. It's a report that I'm using here in my wonderful borough here in London called Southwark. Okay? It's a beautiful, excellent guideline for us to use. I commend the document to you all. I also want to commend, if I may, and I'm now moving on to the health section, those usual challenges. Not only have I received positive response to previous contributors in previous weeks, the Black Business Recommendation Facebook website and Hugh and Lorraine, as well as Dr. Carlton Brown on the Black Entrepreneurs Report 2021, and Dr. Carlton Brown, again, well done, okay? I, of course, received the usual refrain. Really, I don't believe it's really a distraction. It's really listeners, viewers who question whether or not the health messages are founded in facts, okay? And one refrain I received this week was, you say often, the motivator, or they might refer to my other public hat, the counsellor, that you have and you monitor your health, but you never show any evidence. Okay, there you are. This is my blood pressure monitor. Okay, I don't want to show the label, but there you are, blood pressure monitor. Okay, so I regularly check my blood pressure. I've got other equipment to test my heart rate. It's in fact embedded in this blood pressure monitor. I check my cholesterol. Okay. I just make sure that I monitor my health, and if in doubt, I'll go to my doctor, the person who has access to my medical records. Because it's important, particularly if you're over 50, to monitor your health. Okay. I know last week, Empress Abner was a little sensitive that I noted that obesity is a big issue in the community, amongst other issues, I might add, okay? And particularly amongst our women. Here I am, an African man, a Black man. An abnormally high number of them with conditions related to their weight. I'm bound to comment upon it, but I care. Simply care. Too many have these conditions which are caused by being overweight. I'm 6'1", yeah? Using old money, as it were, I'm 11.5 stones. I'll leave you to convert that into pounds, okay? If I'm 6'1", I'm 11.5 stones, and I have a woman who is 5'5" and 14 stones, yes, I am concerned. Let me say nothing else. I am concerned. And I see far too many, particularly women, who are demonstrating that they've not been able to control their weight. Okay? But I recognize, and let me make it clear, I recognize that within my own community, there's issue with our cuisine. cuisine which was often formed as a result of what happened to our people in previous centuries. Okay? So the chattel enslavement of my ancestors and the foods that we were eating at the time, and that now have found its way into our current cuisine, high energy foods, okay? High energy food, designed to keep us going to work in the field for 12, 14, 16 hours a day and still thrive and still have babies. Even still, you've been worked to a degree that most other communities would fail and die out. We did not fail, and we did not most certainly die out. But the cuisine has remained with us. So in many of our cuisines, it contains, well, put it this way, not so much the ingredients, it's the quantum that we eat. Yeah, it's the quantum, the amount, the quantity that we eat on a regular basis, on a daily basis, which is what's doing many of us damage. So I want to continue to talk about health for the first 10, 15, 20 minutes of these shows, because health is a big issue. I see far too many members of the community with illnesses related to lifestyle. Diabetes, hypertension in particular are the two biggest ones that come to mind. And as part of my research into this subject, I've found an interesting YouTube channel, okay, called, led by Dr. Berg, okay? And I've validated the information that he shares, both in the Caribbean, in Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, and Tanzania, of course, here in Britain and the US, to ensure there's consistency of opinions about what he says about health and food in particular. So before I begin my formal health section, I want to share with you this YouTube video. And I want you please to listen carefully, listen keenly to what he said, okay? Because this is said without any prior desire to gain monetary money from you. There's no monetary exchange. It's free information which you're able to validate for yourself. And I would really counsel you to validate what he says yourself. Speak to your doctor, speak to your nutritionist. This is really important because it does pertain to our community. Listen carefully. Not only does it pertain to our community, Black or African communities, okay? It pertains to all communities because we're all human beings. We're actually one family, human family. But anyway, I'll get on that later on. I'm going to share this video with you. Please listen keenly. Let's get it started.
There is a food that is way worse than sugar. Check this out. I'm going to put all the research down below. This is a chart showing all of the factors that can shorten your life, okay? Cause you dying, okay? And so the very top of the list, we have severe obesity, can increase your risk of dying by 93%. Okay, then we have heavy smoking, all right, 80%. And then look at what we have right here, vegetable oils, 62%. This is the one that is worse than sugar. Now, as we come down below vegetable oils, we have physical activity, which is 48%, then heavy drinking, 41%, moderate smoking, which is 30%, and only 13% for excessive sugar consumption. And then we have processed meat, 11%, air pollution, 11%, red meat, which I disagree with because they haven't done any studies comparing grass-fed versus grain-fed. And then sodium, which is 3%, which they haven't probably also compared relative ratios of potassium. Okay. But I just wanted to show you this chart so you can see where vegetable oils are in relationship to everything else. An average person in America consumes 80 grams of vegetable oils. Now, vegetable oils sound really great. It's oil from vegetables. I mean, there's not a lot of oil in vegetables. That's why it's really not vegetable oil. It's seed oil. It's legume oil. It is grain oil. And by the way, it takes a lot of grain and seeds to make just a little bit of oil. But an average person consumes 80 grams of vegetable oil per day. That's 6 tablespoons. That comes up to 720 calories, which is about 32% of an average person's total calories. So a third of our diet is vegetable oils, and the introduction of vegetable oils into our diet to replace saturated fats was probably the biggest change in the last 50 years. And you can also deduct from these numbers some other things, like every 5% increase in daily calories from vegetable oils correlates to smoking about 7 cigarettes per day. All right, vegetables, seed oil, grain oil, legume oil, not like celery oil or broccoli oil or salad oil, okay? But vegetable oil sounds a lot better. Okay, on this next slide, I have a few more points, but I'm trying to hit home the importance of avoiding vegetable oils, because 30% of all of our calories come from these oils right here. We're talking about the soy oil, corn oil, canola, cottonseed, peanut oil, sunflower oil, and safflower oil. I mean, if you look at the label on hummus, for example, they don't use olive oil anymore. They use soy. Sometimes they might use sunflower oil. So the problem with these vegetable oils, extremely pro-inflammatory. They're going to create a lot of inflammation, especially if they're fried. Okay, you heat them. So you go to the restaurant, you get some hors d'oeuvres, usually fried with either corn oil, canola, or soy oil. And so restaurants are the biggest culprit. I can't tell you how many times I go to a restaurant and I leave just not feeling very good. Like I might have like this weird symptom in the back of my throat. I feel bloated. So you really don't know what you're always getting when you actually go to dinner. So just make sure you read the labels, ask the waiter or waitress, what type of oils do you use, okay? And just order basic things that you know they're not going to put the oil in, because these things add up. 30% of the population in the US consume fast food on a daily basis. So you can only imagine how much omega-6 that's accumulating in the body and what it's doing to the arteries, what it's doing to the pancreas, what it's doing to their brain. In one interesting study, which I'll put down below, there was an increase by 62% death rate of all-cause mortality compared to consuming saturated fats. So there's been a huge push to get everyone away from saturated fats to the unsaturated fats, which is a huge mistake. Saturated fats are very stable. With cooking, they can withstand high heats. You don't have the oxidation, the creating of the free radicals when you use saturated fats, especially when you're frying foods. And I don't even talk about reheating at restaurants. Like, how often do you think they change the oil? It might be weeks to months. So you're getting these omega-6 oils that are reheated over and over again. They might filter out some of the debris and some of the burnt particles, but that's a tremendous amount of oxidation. All right, next point. Only severe obesity and heavy smoking are more deadly than vegetable oils on the chart. I mean, that just blows my mind. I mean, sugar, if we compare it to vegetable oils, it's not even in the same ballpark as far as what vegetable oils do to the body. In another study, there was an 82% increased risk of cancer, which makes sense because when you put these products in the body that are so pro-inflammatory, you're creating damage in the DNA. And also, cancer tends to follow in areas of inflammation. They tend to migrate in areas where you have inflammation. So only use olive oil, butter, ghee, lard, tallow, or coconut oil when you're cooking and in your food. Now, since we're on the topic of saturated fats, if you haven't seen my video on butter, I put that up right here. Check it out.
There
I
you
have
are.
done the vegan thing. I have tried the low protein
Let me
thing.
there we go. Turn that off. There you are. Quite unsettling, isn't it? And of course, in our cuisines, we fry a lot. Yeah, vegetable oil, corn oil, soy oil. Yeah, they're causing inflammation. Okay, and inflammation it opens your body up to cancers and a whole range of other maladies. Yeah, through our cuisine, it's embedded in our cuisine. Okay, interesting. Coconut oil, ghee, or butter is a better alternative. But I know there are many of you who've got into a habit, and whilst you hear the message, will resist the message. I realize that. Don't you worry. I realize it's got to be repeated again and again, or it's got to be demonstrated to you. The actual and life impact is either on you or your loved one before you will respond. I get it. Don't worry. I get it. But I have a public duty to communicate information of this type to you so that you can take control of your health. So I simply ask you to consider the amount of salt and sugar that you are consuming into your body. Consider the implications for you. Consider what it means for you, okay, in the long term. Do you need to buy the sugar and the salt from the grocery store? I no longer do so. I no longer do so. And I've got to tell you, it took a little while. In fact, it was easier to stop purchasing additional salt, okay? So I can actually now taste the flavor of the foods. It's not been overshadowed by salt. It took slightly longer to stop purchasing sugar from the grocery store. And that's primarily because, when I was a baby, or a child, I should say, I used to be given money to go to the sweet shop. So I developed a sweet tooth. The truth be told, I still possess a sweet tooth, but I'm no longer controlled by my sugar urges. I'm a man. I no longer am controlled by my sugar urges. Okay, it's a habit. It became almost an addiction, And for many people, I'm not excluded, it is an addiction, yeah, which you formed as a child. It's all part of broad propaganda by big corporations to encourage you to purchase their products. And it very much in the Caribbean, as it were, many islands where sugar cane is grown. It's become a feature of life on those islands, most certainly in Jamaica, I can tell you, and many of the other islands, okay? And of course, in many parts of America, both Brazil and North America, okay? So it became a habit. Okay, because there's an abundance of sugar, sucrose, in the environment that we can consume. But the long-term implication for our bodies is diabetes and hypertension in respect to salt. So I simply ask you to consider the amount of salt and sugar that you're consuming. Simply ask you to consider it, okay? And if in doubt, please speak to your doctor, speak to your nutritionist. I'm not an expert. Let them tell you. I am not an expert, but I have seen the figures. I'm a public official, and I see the figures from the health authorities, and they are terrifying in respect of my own community and our lack of awareness of the impact our cuisine, our habits are damaging our health. So I simply ask you to consider. Equally, I ask you to consider the amount of carbohydrates and get it right, carbohydrate. Let's focus on carbohydrate for the moment. It's an important one, this carbohydrates, because typically, of course, what happens is that if you've got a diet with very heavy in yams, yam is a good example, or bread, wheat products, lots of carbohydrate. But what do we do to carbohydrates? We convert it and store it in our bodies as energy. I pause there. I want it to sink in. So if you're eating carbohydrates every day, if you're not able to defecate it, we store it in our bodies. Then our bodies become bloated, Our bodies become bloated. Big shoulders, big chest, big abdomen, particularly the abdomen. Particularly the abdomen. Big thighs. In some people, big bodies as well. But actually, that's a sign of ill health, not good health. And we need to do something about it. Fat, another one of these things we consume, particularly from dairy products. Sometimes meat, but most certainly from dairy products. And I just keep reminding listeners and viewers, dairy products is just another form of cow's fat. Cheese is hardened cow's fat. Margarine is just a less hardened form of cow's fat. Milk, I know you can give it to babies, but adults, come on, let's get real. Another form of bovine lactose. In other words, another form of cow's fat. It may contain some trace nutrients and so on for babies, but for grown adults, let's get real. Come on. We know we could do better. Therefore, I ask you all, not only do you think about the food you're consuming and the quantums you're consuming, I ask you all, please, to think about what you need to maintain a healthy lifestyle. I want to encourage you to, 1, exercise. Exercise is so important. And I don't mean just a 2-minute run around the buildings. I mean exercise where you're raising your heart. You're raising your heart rate. You're sweating. And you're giving yourself the opportunity to use all of your muscles, not some of your muscles. And if in doubt, get a trainer. Go to your gym and get a trainer. A personal trainer, someone who can help you to develop a really positive exercise routine. I want to encourage you to drink more water. Depending upon your height and body mass, I'm told you're supposed to drink between 2 to 3 liters of water per day. I have my water handy right here. 2 to 3 liters per day. It gives your body an opportunity to, flush out all those toxins that, we know to be is a side effect of the food that we consume. I want to encourage you, please, to eat far more fruits and vegetables. Fruits first thing in the morning, I find is really good for me, a nice bowl of fruit. Absolutely perfect for me, personally. Okay, it's my preference. And lots of vegetables, particularly green vegetables, but a broad range of vegetables, and not those which are heavy in carbohydrates, such as those yams and potatoes. That is what we human beings require in order to convert our food into blood, in order to build our bodies and our minds, our brains. It is essential ingredients. And you moderate the amount of fat that you take in through your foods. Moderate the amount of carbohydrate you take in through your food. So you can focus on those nutrients, those vitamins, those trace minerals, which are essential to maintain a healthy body and mind. I urge you to think this through. And if in doubt, I say again, go to your doctor, speak to a nutritionist, whoever has access to your medical records. He or she, that professional, is best able to give you the advice which is right for you. Which is right for you. Plenty of water, appropriate amount of water, exercise, the right food in the right quantum, fruits and vegetables, yeah? But you heard what he said about the oils. The frying of our food is a big no-no. If you're using corn oil, vegetable oil, yeah? Sunflower oil, yeah? He recommended, what do you recommend? There you go. Olive oil, ghee, butter as a better alternative. And I did the research to validate the information, accurate from the US CDC, accurate from our health authority here in Britain, accurate from the University of West Indies, where you find Professor Hilary Beckle, accurate from our health authorities in Nigeria and Ghana and South Africa and Tanzania, okay? Otherwise, I would not share the information with you. I completed my due diligence, and I can confidently say the health professionals across the board, despite the fact they don't always agree on everything, which you wouldn't expect, generally agree. Information contained in the video I shared with you earlier on is accurate. It's been duly researched and professionally, there are a series of professional papers that validate the results. So I urge you to think about your health first. When you wake up in the morning, think about your health first. If you don't have a monitor machine, such as a high blood pressure or heart rate monitor, I urge you, particularly if you're over 50, to acquire one. Okay? I'm so pleased that I live here in London, in my case, in the borough of Southwark, where the local council, led by local Labour councillors, have brought into force a policy, such an important long-term policy, that is to make our swimming pools, our leisure centres, free at the point of use if you're a local council taxpayer. In recognising there should be no barriers to staying healthy, to take advantage of the expensive equipment that you can utilise to stay healthy. I'm proud to be a local Labour councillor. Forward-thinking, innovative, brave, courageous. Not thinking the 4 years, thinking of the 40 years. Absolutely proud of them. Absolutely proud. I commend Southwark Labour to you for that reason. And I'm sure there are examples in other parts of Britain. And if there is, please feel free to call in. I don't mind hearing such stories from other parts of the country, or indeed parts of the world. And if you've got a good news story on your health, please share it with I'd love to hear your stories. You can call in on 0208 133 5616. Love to hear from you. Love to hear from you. Share with us your good news stories, your health stories, how you've been able to restore good health to yourself, to your family, to your loved ones, and to those you know. 0208 133 5616. Love to hear from you. Those of you who view us via YouTube and Facebook, you can see the number scrolling at the bottom of my screen. Okay? It is absolutely, this is the way forward. It is absolutely the right thing to do. To share your good news stories, okay? Share your good news stories. Love to hear from you, okay? And indeed, if you are viewing us via YouTube or Facebook, why don't you just give us one of those wonderful thumbs up and so on. I'm going to put it on the screen for you, okay? It's the Motivator Show, of course. If you want to view us via, if you're listening to us via either digital radio or Mixcloud, go to The Motivator Show. DE space Motivator space Show. The Motivator Show, okay? And please subscribe, no cost. It simply notifies you of future programs. But more importantly, give us a like. That's a further affirmation. And don't forget to So let me now move on to the next phase of the show. Okay. I want to continue the interesting theme. Okay. And the interesting theme for this show is, of course, our economy. Okay. How do we develop our economy as a community? It is such a fundamental part of who we are. Okay. It is a fundamental part of who we are. And what I'm going to do before I go to that, I'm going to, let's see. Oh, I may have just missed a caller. I'm sorry, caller, with number ending 4778. Call again. Or let's see if I can get you back on the line. I'm sorry about that. I was involved with this wonderful conversation here, and I wanted to get through it before taking the call. Let me just call you now, get you back on the line, shall we? There we go. There we go. Just call. There we go. Get this person back on the line. Sorry that I missed you. There we go. There we go. Let's get this person back on the line. I don't want to miss you. If I can get you back on the line, but call a number ending 4778.
This is the Vodafone voicemail service for
never mind. That's okay.
074.
Can't get that person back on the line. Never mind. I'm sure we'll catch that person another time. Never mind. So let me just continue the theme for today's show. And I'm going to put the graphics on the screen because this is going to be an important one for us. This past month, I've focused on our economy, the African Caribbean community's economy here in Britain. And of course, it was triggered, of course, by that wonderful report by Dr. Carlton Brown. Okay, the report that gave light to our economic position here in Britain, the Black Entrepreneurs Report 2021 by Dr. Carlton Brown. Okay, so he was the first of a series of guests which addressed our economic position. Okay, this week, what I want to do is to focus on our financial institutions. This week is an opportunity to give light to an institution of significant size, okay? An institution that's been around for more than 40 years, okay? Which came out of the experience, particularly of Africans from the Caribbean, okay? Who found it very difficult to obtain loans so they could buy houses, okay? And indeed find it generally very difficult to secure loans so we can start up our own businesses, you know? It's very foolish for the wider communities to prevent my own community from participating in the economic life and vibrancy of Britain. It damages Britain. Britain was damaged by those actions. Undermined Britain's economic growth as a result. Short-sighted, myopic behavior. It still persists today. Maybe not quite so overtly, but it still persists today. But nevertheless, the situation is evolving, is changing, okay? Determined people ensure the situation will change and will continue to change, to improve, not only for my own community, okay, but for all communities that make up Britain, because what then happens, you're creating even greater wealth, greater entrepreneurial opportunities, yeah? Greater import and export, far more dynamism is inserted into the community. So, one institution which continues to lead the light, as it were, lead the charge, okay, is the PCU, the Pentecostal Credit Union. And I hope I've got on the line their CEO. Let's see if we've got him on the line. If I could bring him into the screen. have we got, is Sean on the line? Let's see if he's on the line. If he's test the system, I wonder if he's still around, or am I going to... Sean, are you on the line? Let's see if we can get him on the line. Let's get him on the line. Let's bring him in. Oh, interesting sight. Sean, I said Sean. Shane, get it right. Shane, are you on the line?
I am, yeah.
Ah, there you are. Oh, we have a blank screen. There you are. Okay. Oh, we're looking at your mat at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just trying to sort out these, sorry.
It's okay. You continue. Okay. So, what makes this show particularly important on this occasion is that the Pentecostal Credit Union has been one of those seminal organizations, okay? An organization that has breathed into the community economic dynamism. So Shane Bowles, the chief executive of the Pentecostal Credit Union, is joining us today, and he's just sorting out his camera. We're still looking down at your mat on your desk. I think you've got it facing the wrong direction. Okay. Aha, there we go. Oh, he's got one of his health drinks there. He's showing off it, folks. He's showing off. He's had his fruit drinks there. We're still looking at your mat. Oh, no.
Yeah,
It was now. No? Okay. All right then. Well, once he gets his oh, there you are. Oh, yeah. There you are. But gaze upon your person. Okay, there you are. Are we being heard clearly? Are we?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfectly. Excellent, excellent, excellent. First of all, how are you today, Shane? How are you today?
Not too bad, thank you. How are you?
I am well. I am well. I've shared with my audience. I'm feeling truly invigorated. You know, I went out just after 5 this morning to exercise, so I'm feeling alive. Really feeling alive. Huh? I don't know if you exercise every morning. Do you exercise in the mornings, Shane?
I'm not as good every morning, but I do. You know, every couple of days.
Well, provided you're doing some exercise, that's what matters.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yes.
And you're eating well, you're taking care of yourself, you're paying attention to your health. That's what I want to encourage listeners and viewers to do, because it's in our community there are big issues around our health. But more importantly, let's get back to the PCU, the Pentecostal Credit Union. So first of all, welcome. Welcome. And this is your second occasion to be on the show. You might remember a little while ago, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what I want to do, if I may, I'm just conscious of our time. Time will just fly with us today. So I'm going to go straight into my question for you. So a question I know there are many listeners wanting to understand. Why was the Pentecostal Credit Union created? What's its connection with Windrush? I see it in your logo, Windrush Faith and Finance. What's the significance of those words? Why was it created, and what's your connection with Windrush?
Okay, so is that our founder founded the credit union, the Reverend Carmel Jones, Windrush immigrant in 1979, and the reason for it that many to this country in the
really sorry to interrupt you there, Shane. We seem to have some delay on your line for some reason. Just wondering, I don't believe anything at my end. It's not my end, it doesn't appear. We've got a slight delay of about 3 seconds on your audio. I wonder if you're going through another system somewhere. Okay, if not, we'll just press on. Don't worry, we'll press on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the credit union immigrants, and the reason and credit union was the fact that services had become very hard and affordable, very difficult to obtain for Windrush immigrants. Found it difficult to get finance for places to live. In addition to that, many members of the established church, hence when they came to this country, churches in their own countries, to continue to worship, excluded or asked not to come to it. And so what you have is, or fledgling church groups, rooms initially. But that's
I'm really sorry to interrupt you, Shane. Yes, we are getting long delays now. I wondered if you could change your headset, possibly, that were possible. If that's possible. Let's see if we try that. We seem to have delay of about 3 to 4 seconds. Just trying to catch up. It doesn't appear to be my end, so I suspect you might have a problem your end if we can.
Is that better?
All right. Whilst he's just sorting that out, the Pentecostal Credit Union for me is quite an interesting organisation because of course it exists for the sole purpose of improving the economic lives of its members. Okay, and members, of course, are primarily drawn from the African Caribbean and continental African communities, as it's an outgrowth of those communities. Okay, and of course, yes, it's the Pentecostal credit union, but of course you can still open up an account with them if you've attended any of their functions. You don't have to be a member of the Pentecostal church. Oh, are you with us now? Oh, okay, let's try that then. How's that?
Okay.
Oh, that's better.
Okay, is that?
It's better. It's not quite as long a delay, but I think we'll just keep pressing on if we see we can get any better. Don't worry, I'll adjust my system this end. Keep continuing. So you're describing why it was formed. Just continue from there.
Yeah. So because out of really the financial exclusion that many Caribbean and West Africa faced during the 1950s and 1960s, and I was meant credit union has a special connection to the Pentecostal church because many were also the founders of the fledgling Pentecostal, and as these fledgling church groups grew, people's front rooms initially into local community halls and local churches, it became apparent that there was a need also for these to be able to purchase their own places of worship. But when they were lending, they were turned down. And so in 1979, Carmel Jones and 16 other Christian friends came together to form in his front room.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, now we still have this slight delay and your voice. I've adjusted my system. If I may suggest, on this occasion, I don't normally suggest this, if you might log off and reconnect, hopefully that might be a very simple resolution to the problem. Okay, you just want to log off and come back. Thank you. And whilst Shane is doing that, I just want to just explain to listeners as to why I have chosen to include the Pentecostal Credit Union, or the PCU, in today's show as an example of a significant financial institution that's been contributing to uphold and promote the economic vibrancy in our communities. Okay, and it really is important. So I've described, of course, it exists for the sole purpose of improving the economic lives of its members. In other words, yes, you have to become a member. In other words, you've got to join the credit union to take advantage of its facilities. And what it says here is this. It listens to its members and know and understand what they want. Savings and outstanding value loans that are easy to access is what they say about them. Loans are available at an interest rate at no more than 1% above APR or on outstanding balances. And then they go on to describe examples of types of loans which are provided. Now, they go on to say, we believe that there is an untapped wealth in the common bond community, which only need to be developed and unleashed. Okay. Oh, Shane's returning us. There we go. There we go. Let's see if that's any better. Shane, can you hear us? Yeah. Okay. Well, now I can't hear you.
I can hear you.
Ah, we can now. Right. Okay. Well, for some reason there is a delay, but we're just going to have to cope with this. I'm going to have to ask you if you just top your volume a little more, and we'll just have to cope with this in that case. I'm sorry about that. That's okay. Let us press on anyway.
All right.
All righty.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We'll just try our best. Don't you worry. Yeah. So just tell us a bit more. So you've described how it's formed. What's the connection between the PCU and Windrush?
Okay. So, so as I mentioned earlier, the connection is that the founder Windrush generation, they had all come from the Caribbean or West Africa during the 1950s and 1960s. They had all experienced audible finance in the aftermath of their arrival in the UK, and they were all united by that experience. They were Pentecostal churches, which had also been formed by Windrush immigrants as a result of religious exclusion.
Yes, this is most certainly true. I can recall the Britain in the 60s, and the Anglican churches were very strange places, worshipping God, crying out in appreciation for Jesus Christ, okay, but yet were prepared to exclude members from their congregation, members of the community, fellow Christians. Very strange places. Although I have got to admit, the Anglican Church in particular has most certainly evolved since then. I have to admit. Okay, I want to give that cry out. It most certainly has evolved, but most certainly they committed, in some ways, deep scars and wounds which still reflect in today's organization of the Christian families, as it were. It is still pertinent here, which of course why the Pentecostal churches had to be the anchor that held our community together. Okay, and I've not had this opportunity, Shane, to say this to members of the Pentecostal churches. I want to say thank you. Yeah, thank you for saving hundreds of thousands of members of our communities during thick and thin. Yeah, there have been many trying times, and the Pentecostal church, I know, as well as others, but let me just focus on the Pentecostal church, most certainly made a truly positive contribution to the community and upholding. You received me, okay? Can you hear all right? Excellent.
Yes.
Okay, right.
Yes,
Now,
I can now.
excellent. So we notice that you have a board of directors and a youth shadow board. What role does the youth shadow board perform in your organization? I find it a fascinating concept, if I may say so. Go ahead.
We have a main board of directors, like all financial institutions, because we are fully compliant with the regulations Regulatory and Compliance Board is a board made up of our young junior members or junior savers in the organisation. They are aged between. They act as a board, as a junior board of directors, which sit alongside the main board of directors to change policies or procedures, but they can make suggestions to the main board of directors about the types of goods and services a younger person's perspective. The Youth Shadow Board also acts as a governance tool because they act as a board of they meet at least once or twice a month, and then they organise their own activities. So it teaches young people about it teaches them those soft skills, about governance, which perhaps they don't get in the main education system. We also succession, because we want to see those people from the Youth Shadow Board graduate and join the main board of directors, so that they're able to bring their skills as young people to bear fruit, on the main board of directors. The Youth Shadow Board, which will assist them in their development, so they get work experience placements, both individually and as other high level meetings and conferences for young people and adults, so you can get a kind of flavour of what we're.
Fascinating. I find this quite interesting. So you are preparing the next generation for leadership. Would that be fair?
Absolutely, yeah. It's about teaching them leadership, both as individuals and as a collective.
I understand you. Yes, there is still a slight delay, so if I take a little longer to respond to you, I can now hear the audio. Okay, don't worry. But it's fine.
Okay.
We will simply cope with this. We are a flexible people. Don't you worry. Okay. And if I may ask you, as regards the youth board, you said they meet monthly and so on. Okay. So what influence have they had on your policies or procedures or products that you offer? Can you maybe point to maybe one or two examples?
Okay, so one of the influences that they've had is a few years ago the credit because we recognise that in order to make a greater appeal to young people, that we needed to have, in order to keep their interest in the business, in the organisation, it had to be accessible in channels that they were going to understand or be able to resonate with. His website and the mobile app, because these are the kind of channels that young people use their financial services. We've also developed another product called Gift Box. Millennial market.
All righty. Yes, there is a slight delay still on the line, but we'll keep pressing on. So you said the gift. I didn't quite catch the last bit of the gift box. Just describe that again. What does that mean?
Okay, so Gift Box is a financial product which is tailored specific, predominantly between those young people between the ages of 18 and 35. And a lot of financial institutions have a lot of young people tend to be spenders, rather than savers in terms of their financial behavior. And so Giftbox cater to the millennial market. So it has the same sort of financial product offering that we have for specific programs for young people. So meetings where we organize meetings where they can come and network with each other. We have feedback to the credit union in terms of the goods and services that they want. And, we have competitions, where they can come together and awards and things like that. So Giftbox really is a kind of packaging and marketing tool that we've developed, to engage trying to start up businesses, fledgling start-up businesses, but perhaps don't know how to get a business off the ground. Coaching, we have high net worth individuals from the Black community that can come and address young entrepreneurs about how to get to. So that's what Giftbox is.
Brilliant. God, I'm aware of a number of young people from my borough who apparently have attended some of those functions, and they are extremely happy with the service and the professionalism in which the entire process was handled. Well done, if I may say so. Well done. A question which came to me prior to the show beginning. To join the PCU, it is necessary to be a member of the Pentecostal church community.
Regularly. Now, some people ask, well, why do you actually need a common bond or entry criteria in order to join? Just Pentecostal credit union have what's called a common bond, and really a common bond is a rule of entry. Really, it is. We have about 400 credit unions nationwide in this country, and each one has its own specifically tailored common bond. Most common bonds are or employment. So you have you may have Lambeth Credit Union. In order to join Lambeth Credit Union, you have to live or work within the London Union. You have to live or work in Croydon or Sutton to join that. So that is the entry requirement to join it. Pentecostal credit union, it doesn't mean that you have to be a signed up member of a Pentecostal church. You don't have to attend a Pentecostal church with a with a Pentecostal church. And we've tried to keep the common bond criteria as loose and flexible as possible in order to church to join. So if you've attended a wedding or a funeral or a christening at a Pentecostal church, you then, as long as you can name it and say you've attended it at least once, then you are eligible to join. And the majority least attended a Pentecostal church. We have people of Pentecostal faith, people of no faith, people who adhere to the Muslim faith.
Mm.
They have attended a Pentecostal church, so they meet the common bond criteria.
I understand you, and that's interesting. So if you've attended a function organised by a church member as opposed to the church, a wedding, christening, funeral, or other functions, okay, that they're then able, and they can name that event, that they're then able to join the PCU, the Pentecostal Credit Union. That's right, am I right?
Yeah, as long as they can name the church.
Okay.
Yeah, the church that they attended.
Brilliant.
Yes.
I've got that. Thank you so much for that. And that's a little clarity for those of you who questioned myself on that particular point. Interesting point, and quite a flexible joining criteria. So how's the PCU ranked compared to other Black community-owned credit unions and financial institutions? Roughly, where do you rank? Are you quite large, you small, you medium? How do you rank in terms of size? By asset, if you use that term.
Yeah. By in terms of the size, we are easily the largest of in the United Kingdom, because we have assets of 13 million, deposit port 7 million. So we are easily the largest of the Black credit unions, of which there are about half a dozen. Yes. Credit unions to have been formed. Our registration is actually 6C, so we were actually the 6th credit union to be in the 1970s.
Oh, wow.
But actually, we weren't one of the first of the Black credit unions. Actually, that accolade actually goes to, or would have gone to, West Indians in North London in the early 1970s.
Right.
What's happened though to many of these fledgling Black credit unions is that they are credit unions, for whatever reason that was, and it's something that often happens to Black businesses when they are successful. Other communities sometimes to come in and take over, or they transfer their engagements. So Hornsey Credit Union is no more. It's part of, I think it's London. It doesn't exist.
The Mutual.
But it was the first one, and unfortunately that will now be erased from the history books because started in this country was started by a group of black men in North London. So there's also Croydon Caribbean Credit, fledgling credit union that was started by Caribbean immigrants in the late 60s or early 70s.
Yes.
But a proud history, and a proud legacy
yes.
Within the Black community.
I understand you, and indeed, you're quite right. So you are the largest, in a way. You're the largest credit union that's come out of our community at this time.
Yes, easily the largest one, but although we're the largest, we always pay homage to the other Black-owned cooperatives that were started in this country, because we all started with the same need, the same motivation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is how we got off the ground.
I completely understand, and it's longevity. You have the advantage now of longevity, and I'm assuming your longevity is a result of you being very scrupulous in adhering to your governance document, and scrupulously ensuring that you remain internally a professional body, and indeed you're able to inspire your members and the wider community. What account for your longevity do you believe, Shane?
Is that we are a blessed organisation, the Pentecostal Credit Union, and one thing that started in 1979 was the Pentecostal Church, the Black Church, is one of the most stable, in fact, the most stable, the strongest institution within the Black community.
Indeed.
Withstood the test of time. It is the Black Church, and the credit union has an affiliation to the Black Church. We have the connection to the church, so we can draw upon the professionalism and the expertise within the Black Church. There is wealth within the Black Church.
Yes.
So our connection to it means we are able to draw on it. It means that we have a market with which to draw individual members and from which to draw individual expertise and professionalism.
Thank you for that response, and it's a lesson for many of our organizations, to draw upon your experience. I can see we've got a call in the line. I haven't officially opened the line, but I'll take this call anyway, if you don't mind, Shane. Is that okay? Okay. I see a caller with number.
It's okay.
See the number. It's 6988. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Hugh from Black Business Recommendation. I do apologize. I've just tuned in, and I will be watching the rerun again. So I do apologize. I would love to speak to Shane about what he's doing, and I find that what you're both doing is fascinating, and I'll be in the background. Unfortunately, something took a turn that I had to divert, so I would have been at home listening. So I will take note, and I will call before the program ends again, so that I can ask a few questions.
Not a problem.
So right now, I'm just listening.
Okay, Hugh, thanks for calling in anyway. And I will open the lines in 20 minutes' time. Okay, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Time. Right, yeah. Thank you, Hugh.
Thank you.
If I may come back to yourself, Shane. So Hugh runs the Black Business Recommendation website with more than 5,000 or more members. They're making a really positive contribution to the financial and economic status in the community, and they are your sister and brother organizations. Okay, so but we'll come back to them in a moment. I'm interested, and this question was posed to me earlier this week. Describe your 5 most popular financial products offered for individual PCU savers, and why you have recently marketed services to millennials.
Okay, so probably the most popular products are probably simply a range of different loan products that people might want to use. So, movement loan product, the instant loan product, and the home buyer loan, or and then probably the savings product are probably the 5 most popular in the credit union.
Just describe the loan product. I know that's of particular interest to many listeners and so on, and most certainly savings. But let's talk about the loans. Are your loans more competitively priced? What would give them distinction? Loans that are available via PCU.
It's a good question, and they are competitively priced. In fact, they are even more competitively priced now because we have seen a real spike. So they were competitive before, but they're even more competitive than they were before. But what makes our loan products and the loan products of all credit unions, I might add, and loan company products is the fact that credit union, there is truth in lending in our loan products. And when I mean truth in lending, I mean additional fees or charges or ancillary costs to that loan. So if you take a loan from a credit union today and you decide to pay it back plus a day's interest and no more. So, you know, you're not being charged a fee for paying it back early. There are no limits on how many fees for taking out that loan product.
Okay.
You know, so there is that transparency in terms of the costing of that loan. There is all our loan products are all at a fixed rate of interest. So if you take out a loan today and the Bank of England loan rate payment that you make, it stays the same for the life of the loan.
Right, I see.
In terms of our home buyer loan, it is mortgages now. The cheapest ones going now are about between 5.2 and 5.5%. So ours is fixed at 5%, and it's fixed mortgage, and they'll give it to you for between 2 and 5 years, and then you've got to take another one. At the credit union, you take a fixed rate from us, you've got it fixed for 25 years at 5%.
Hold on, Shane. I need you to say that very slowly for the listeners to hear and viewers to hear what you just said. The loans are, did you say fixed rate for the duration of the loan period? Just say it again, just so we all heard it clearly. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so if you take a fixed rate secured loan from the credit union, you would get that at 5%. That's the fixed rate at the credit union.
Wow. Okay.
So there is that security in lending for a maximum due. As I said, because of the spike in interest rates at the moment, you wouldn't get that anywhere in any bank or building society.
That's fascinating. And can I now go to what I think is an even more important point, savings. Tell us about savings in terms of the interest rates and the security of money that we save with you. Okay. First of all, in fact, let's talk about security. How secure is our money if we put in, say, £100 a month? How secure is that money? Okay. And what interest rates do you currently offer?
Okay. Or in any other credit union in the UK, your money is just as safe as it is in any bank, in any high street bank, or any high street building society, or in exactly the same way as banks and building society. So we are members of the Financial Conduct Authority and members of the Prudential Regulatory for credit unions. In addition to that, if a credit union goes bust, if it becomes insolvent, we are also members of the financial societies, are also part of. So if a credit union goes insolvent, it means you get all of your money back, paid by working days, up to the first £85,000 that you have invested. That is a uniform standard for all deposit takers.
Right. So, in other words, the savings up to 85,000 is guaranteed. It's guaranteed. Yep, that's protected.
yes, is guaranteed to be repaid on.
Perfect. And again, the interest rate, can I just ask you to repeat what the interest rate, the prevailing interest rate on savings would be, just so we're clear for listeners and viewers?
Okay, so in the Pentecostal credit union, we don't pay interest to customers, such as a bank or building society might pay interest. Um, and that is different, because when you are a member of the Pentecostal credit union, you are a shareholder, and a member. The profit is a share of the profit.
There we go. Sorry, we didn't quite catch that last bit. We had a slight connection problem. Could you just repeat what you said again, Shane? Sorry. Mm-hmm.
When you open an account in the Pentecostal credit union, you are a shareholder, not a customer. That's a fundamental difference between having you are not a shareholder in a credit union. You are a shareholder and a member of the business. So what that means is that any profit or any surplus that we make, part of that profit to all of the members in the shape of a tax-free dividend on their saving. So although it is fundamental difference, so it's a dividend that we pay. So we've been in existence since 1980. That's 42 years, and in each of our members, for every one of those 42 years, there is not a financial institution that could tell you they paid an interest or dividend. Each of those 42 years, because we've been in surplus for 42 years, it means that we've paid a range of different dividends over the years. Sometimes the dividend has dividend to our savers of 0.5%,
right? Okay.
Which was tax-free. So if you consider that in most instant savings accounts, 0.2% interest on their savings,
right? When
you consider that's what they were paying, the main banks, the fact that we were paying 0.5 gives you an indication of how successful. Yeah, we've done pretty well in terms of rewarding our members each year.
Brilliant. And can I just double check as regards children and adults? Is there a minimum age or maximum age to join the credit union and save?
No, there's no minimum or maximum age to take out. Parents can open an account for their children when they're 1 day old.
Okay.
And,
yes.
Save for their children. The only difference between a juvenile, but I mean, apart from that, they get the same tax-free return on their deposits as the adults.
Excellent. Now, the other element in our show, and this has been our Enterprise Month, Entrepreneurs Month. Can you describe for listeners and viewers the financial products offered to corporate and social enterprises?
Okay, so exactly the same financial products that are offered to individuals, to individual members, are offered to charities. There is no difference. Okay. They have the same deposit and savings accounts available, exactly the same loan products available, price that they are priced for individuals, because you'll often find as a business that borrowing is at a much higher rate than individual lending. But in Pentecostal credit union, it is exactly the same. So if you take a secured loan as a business, for 50,000 or more, you get it at 5%. Just bonuses for businesses opening accounts in the credit union is the fact there are no banking fees. You know, there are no fees.
It's really boring again, Shane. I want to make sure what you said is heard and understood. Can you just repeat what you said as regards the loans and interest rate in relation to corporate and social enterprise? Just so we're clear, because it sounded interesting, and I want to question you because it sounded extremely favourable. So let's say one more time, so it's clearly understood. What's available? What interest rates or charge will be applicable to a corporate or social enterprise? Just say one more time, please.
Yeah, so the same interest rates that are available to individuals are available to business. You know, there's no distinction between the interest rates for individuals and non-personal accounts, basically. Wow. In terms of the deposit accounts, individuals, but the added bonus there, I guess, is the fact that in mainstream banks often they're often, running charges for running a Pentecostal credit union. There are no charges. It is free banking for individuals. It's free banking for corporates.
Well, it seems to make perfect sense to me. I think that makes perfect sense. I'm quite sure Hugh of the Black Business Recommendation website and his very broad membership will be very interested to hear this news because I don't believe it's generally known, to be quite honest with you. So this is new. It's a very cost-efficient way to raise money. Is there a requirement for a social enterprise or a corporate member to have had been with you for a period of time and build up a asset or savings with yourself prior to a loan engagement?
It isn't a requirement. It helps that enterprise, but it isn't essential. If the enterprise has a long established history, it can provide, another document. Then we're able to assess the credit worthiness of that loan application.
Yes.
But equally, if for a loan, then we simply assess that loan application on its individual merit.
Absolutely.
But of course, if the business has been saving with the credit union, doing business with us for some account history to additionally support that loan application.
I understand. Perfect. So there you are, listeners and viewers. It's an interesting idea. Do we need to put our money in the big four banks, or should we be putting our money in the PCU? I'll leave you to decide. But Shane, do you intend to extend your services beyond the credit union? Do you intend to innovate and maybe become a bank in your own right anyway? Yes.
Well, operating within the credit union business model, we intend to make sure that we are fully compliant within the UK, and that means adhering to the various statutes that we have to, whilst at the same time being Postal Credit Union has done for each of its 42 years, which is why we've been successful, is because we've been able to innovate during that time. It's actually commercially sensitive at the moment, so I can't go into any detail about what our long-term ambitions are, but we are operating within the credit union business model and are happy to do it and legally required to do it.
Absolutely. Oh, I like that. I could make a politician out of you to keep that up.
Yeah.
Okay, but our savings are safe. They're certainly secured. Underwritten Bank of England up to 85,000. Interest rate looks very favourable. The loan rate looks and the terms look extremely favourable. Oh my gosh, I can't think of a reason why we wouldn't want to open up a bank account. So, what is required to open a PCU individual or corporate account? How long would it usually take to complete the process to open up an account for yourself, either an individual, corporation, or social enterprise? What's the lengthy period?
Well, if you decide to do to open an account online, it can be done in 5 minutes.
Oh wow! Okay.
So you complete an online membership application, and that takes about 5 minutes. Or you can now do it via our mobile app. You can download, and that process, as I said, takes a matter of minutes. Once you have completed the application form for either an individual account or a corporate account, it is that we have a one-off £10 entrance fee for individual accounts and business accounts. That's non-refundable. Further £25, and essentially you then have a deposit account open with a £25 deposit in it.
Wow. So just so I'm clear then, you can do it online. So what are the, do you require specific documents that you're able to upload to the website so they can validate those documents? What are the some ID requirements and security requirements? Is this so we're clear?
Okay, so if you do it online, you don't have to submit any. We have electronic ID technology built in to our software. So once you have put in your name and address, it can verify you at several nationwide databases,
Right. Okay.
and verify you electronically. There isn't a requirement to our website. If you decide to do the application via the mobile app, on the app itself, then it will then ask you then to take photographs with your smartphone of two forms of ID. One has to be a photo ID, such as a no older than 3 months. And then you can do that actually on the app. It stores it safely and sends it directly into facial technology to the ID document that you have electronically submitted. And if it is verified as a match, then
Gotcha. So in other words, it's all digitized these days. No need to upload paperwork. And you do it via the app. You take a picture of yourself, and you digitally are able to verify an individual's identification. Okay. Are there individuals who cannot be a member of a credit union, who cannot be a member of a credit union at this stage for fairly legal reasons?
Because there are so many, as I said, there are about 400 credit unions and employment.
Yes.
Then you are, as an individual living in the UK, each person in the UK is eligible to join at least where we may live or work in, different localities or worship or live in a housing association, variety of common bond requirements, you're bound to be eligible to join at least one credit union. Most of us are eligible to join two or three or even more credit unions in the UK.
Brilliant. So what I'm going to do is put your website details on the screen. If I can print it up now, it works. So your website details is www.pcuuk.com. I believe that's correct. Perfect.
That is correct.
Perfect. So thank you. So those of you who are watching and listening, that is the website address. So you can validate all what you've heard today, have been shared with you today. So www.pcuuk.com. Okay, and you can therefore peruse the website, and much information that's been shared by Shane this morning is available for you to view online. Okay. Now, this has been a fascinating interview. What you've been able to do is highlight the fact that there's a significant financial institution which can both save, where you can save securely, and of course we're able to obtain both personal and corporate loans under the right circumstances once you've assessed us. And it is majority control by members of our community. It doesn't mean other communities cannot join the PCU. It's the PCU, it comes out of the experience of particularly of Africans from the Caribbean and West Africa, is what you've stated. So I want to commend the PCU to members, and with your permission, Shane, I want to take a few calls online so that we can receive feedback from members of the public who are now really keen to understand the advantages of being a member of the PCU. And I've got a question from YouTube. Is it YouTube or Facebook, in fact? A question been put to me here. In fact, this person is actually overseas, in Zimbabwe. Are they able to join the PCU here in the UK? I suspect I know the answer to that question. What's your response, Shane?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have the capacity. Credit union members who live overseas. A person does need to be resident within Great Britain to join Pentecostal. You can open the account. You could then go overseas to live,
Right,
or visit. But at the initial opening stages, residency checks, etc., would be taken place based on the information in the public domain about where you live. So
that's understood. I did want to just call on Hugh from the Black Business Recommendation Facebook and website. If you're still on the line, Hugh, you can now come in. You can ask a question of Shane. Are you there, Hugh?
Yes, I'm there. Allow me to park, and I'll be with you in 1 minute precisely.
We definitely want you to park. Okay.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yes, I've listened, and Shane, I must admit, this is something new to me, and I think that our members, which we have approximately coming up to close to 11,000 members, will be very much interested in what you are doing. One question for myself was that when you open an account, do you have a bank card? Do you have those ones where you just tap and you can pay for goods and services, or is that just when you have an account you have a book per se?
Okay. Yes.
Way, Hugh. Thank you for your question. So was mentioning earlier that the credit union is a lot of our transactions, whether putting money in or taking it out, can be conducted over the web or via a mobile app, which currently is only available to individual members. And we're working on a debit card product for corporate or businesses. But that then enables them to go out and spend money. It's contactless, so they can use it online in the supermarket. And if they want to take money out at a cash point, they can do that as well.
Okay, that would be very useful, because I do know that now, as an old fogey as I am, I used to love to carry money around. Now, with the contactless, it makes it a lot easier, and safer for you to actually ensure how much money you can use. Now, next question was, would you be interested in being interviewed at Black Business Recommendation? Because I think that we want to produce that information to our members and beyond. Is that something that would be of interest to you? Sorry, Martin, for stealing one of your guests, but what he's saying is fascinating, and I do believe that working in collaboration with our community is how we can grow and develop our own economic strength.
Absolutely, Shane.
Yes, I'd be happy to. Yeah, I'd be happy to. Happy to be interviewed.
And get in touch with you.
Yeah. I will share it with you. Don't you worry, Hugh. Thank you for those questions. Absolutely. I've said it, and I will keep repeating it. Hyper-individualism within the community is the bane of our community. It's only where we work collectively with a common aim, common purpose, that the growth that we seek is possible. And the credit union, an example of people working together with a common aim and a common purpose. So Hugh, I'll continue to recommend the Black Business Recommendation website. Well done to your work, and I look forward to working with you now and into the future.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
I'll be always there, so anytime you need, give me a call, I'm there. Whatever we can do, we will do it together.
Thank you so much. Drive safely, please. Don't forget to respect.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay. If I come back to you, Shane, I've got a few other questions, but I'm just conscious of our time. I wonder if there's any sort of closing messages you want to share with listeners and viewers before you leave us today. What would be your closing messages?
The messages I'd probably want to encourage listeners to do is that to make some, give people opportunities to trust or have confidence within Black businesses, especially those in the finance field, and about reassuring people about the safety and efficiency of the Pentecostal Credit Union. As I said, we've been formed in 1980. So we have 42 years and compliance within the financial field in this country. We are the largest Black-owned financial and staff, all drawn from the African and Caribbean diaspora. And so we have an idea about the financial needs of our community. Professional fields, the banking industry, the housing industry, teaching, nursing, HR. So at the very top of the institute, one of the things that we are going to find within the next few years is our challenges around finance.
Yes.
Mainstream institutions are drawing back. They're changing their risk profiles. They're changing their eligibility criteria for opening accounts and borrowing experience about the types of financial services that our members need, about the types of financial exclusion that our members have faced. And so, credit union, we have managed to help a number of black churches purchase their own buildings, help individuals purchase their own buildings. I've lost to start businesses, to call for relatives from abroad.
Right.
So that expertise and professionalism is well established here. The community then one or build entrepreneurship and build real wealth and success in the community, then you look at any other community around the world, and what you see is an ability for communities to maintain wealth and have a few years ago, and you might be aware of it. And they took a look at different communities about how long a dollar stayed within a particular community, weeks and days. And when they looked at the black community, they said that the dollar stayed within the black community for 6 hours.
That's right.
So if you want to extrapolate that and put in the community, we need established banking channels. And when you open an account in the Pentecostal Credit Union, when you save within the Pentecostal, it is going to help a black individual, with a loan, with a help to buy mortgage, with a startup longer.
Yes. This is music to my ears, if I may say so, Jane. Thank you. I'm grinning with such pleasure. Okay? In my other life, as it were, the local councillor here in Southwark, I'm also the cabinet member for job, businesses and town centres with a specific remit to encourage and stimulate where necessary economic vibrancy in the black communities. And an aspect of this, of course, is to ensure that we can nurture our entrepreneurs into fruition. Okay, and we've got various grant funding that we make available to encourage entrepreneurship in the community. So working with organizations like yourself, success is assured. I always say here, success is ours for the taking. Okay, that is absolutely true. And you are demonstrating our ability to defend ourselves from those institutions that would, from a financial point of view, exclude us. You provided an avenue by which, if we are all committed, and I want to commend the PCU to listeners and viewers, go to their website, pcuuk.com. You do your own due diligence, your own assessment, but I've done it, and I'm more than happy to say to you that the PCU has got the right financial backing. It is clearly a robust organization. It's lasted for more than 40 years, and it's a type of organization I'm able to. Have I lost you? Or have I lost you for a moment? Oh, we lost you for a moment there. Okay, never mind. Don't worry. Remember this. I've just missed it. Just go back here, if I may, and was chatting away to you. And I'm sorry for some listeners who've tried to get through and have some difficulty. I'm going to the caller with number ending, get it right, 4778. If you wish to try again, please do, and hopefully the system will then pick you up this time. I'll just say to you, if I may, then Shane. Well, in terms of the local authorities, and you're based in London, have you ever worked with local authorities to encourage entrepreneurship within those local authority areas? And if you had the opportunity, would you welcome such opportunities?
Possibly. I mean, it's a good question, because unlike the vast majority of the credit unions that operate in this country, any public body, the credit union, one of the things that does set us aside from most of the other 400 credit unions, self-funded, self-governing. We've never had any help from central or local government to do anything. Never given us any financial help. There are credit unions getting thousands of pounds of local and central government money, never enough. I think one of the issues around that is the fact that our common bond, they may see our common bond as a bit exclusive.
Yep.
Because we have a link with the faith in order to open an account, as opposed to a credit union with a common bond, which is serving the entire community. I guess if there are mutually agreeable objectives and it satisfies what we're looking to do, we'd certainly look at it. But to be honest with central and local government, because they've never given us or helped us with anything, in the 42 years we've been running.
The future is nigh, if I may say so, Shane. Change is coming. Let me tell you, change is definitely coming. Okay, there are sufficient numbers of local councils and MPs right across London who would really welcome the support of the PCU. That I'm assured. Okay, and working with you, I can only see positives coming out of this. So I don't mind declaring my hat straight away. Love to work with the PCU, encourage and stimulate the membership. Although I would suggest that there are many Christian and indeed Muslim sects around London, okay? And I suspect you need to develop a common bond with them as a general document, as it were. I can't imagine that the other, I can think of the Redeemed churches, for example, very large church. You should have a common bond with the Redeemed Church already in place, if I may say so. It's really thinking creatively about this, but there are many innovations which we can discuss. I'm convinced that you have enormous opportunities to affect real positive change in the communities. And we just need to sit around the table and think about the future and envisage the future in which we are absolutely in control of our financial futures. Oh yeah. I'm very, very keen for this. What I'm going to do now, I won't take any more calls. Notice there are a few questions. I'll send these questions on to you. I'm just conscious that I want to be able to end my show on time. I wish to say to you, Shane, thank you. Thank you for the information shared. It has been very detailed. I can see by some of the texts I've received in there, they've gone onto your website, and it's absolutely clear, it's open and transparent, as you said. And that's really your important buzzword here, openness and transparency. And if there's any doubt, they can treble check and satisfy themselves what you've said is accurate. And I think the most important thing you've said this morning, Shane, and you may not realize this, we must have confidence in our financial institutions. Okay, I think that's what important. I'm going to ask you, why should we have that confidence? Tell us again why we should have that confidence. A minute. I'll give you a minute to explain why we should have that confidence in our financial institutions.
Well, I think the history of the history of some financial instabilities of 2009, 2010, when a couple of banks became insolvent meant that for the first about whether their money was actually safe within their by deposit takers. But I think also there is some about where we put our money. So, there is a history of community saving in the black community, whether it's partner or susu or history of people putting money within a community or small grouping in order to assist one another with saving, worked out, shall we say, with that. And because the credit union is a extrapolated model of that, in the sense that we're a community, not have the same confidence. They may not, they see Pentecostal credit union, they think we're not a bank, or we're a poor equivalent, poor relation of a bank there. But of course they are there because the law now requires all people that take public money to be regulated, have proper structures of governance. And so we meet those criteria. And as I've said, the regulatory and control to work under mean that a person considering opening an account can have 100% confidence in the safety of them as a customer. Sometimes we have some reservations about how we're going to be treated when we open business with black.
Thank you very much. That last statement was really quite critical because I've seen some comments on my texting. Confidence in our financial institutions. Shane, thank you very much. I look forward maybe speaking to you maybe in a year's time, and we can talk about the future plans of the PCU. Okay, and I hope to work with you to extend your membership base because clearly you're an organisation worth backing. So I want to say thank you very much to you and all the staff and those who are supporting the PCU here in Britain. Thank you very much indeed, Shane, who is, of course, the Chief Executive of the Pentecostal Credit Union. Have a good day, stay strong and prosper. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Pleasure. Bye-bye. And there you are, people. That is an incredibly important interview. Our largest credit union, worth tens of millions of pounds, okay, and has stood the test of time, lasted more than 42 years. I commend the credit union to you. Completed my due diligence. I'm confident that this institution will serve us well now and into the future. And the website, of course, is www.pcuuk.com. I'll now disconnect from the Galaxy network so that the next presenter can come on board. But I look forward to speaking to you all on the next Strong. There you go. And of course, those of you on Facebook and YouTube, thank you for listening. But please don't forget to give us a like. If only the like or subscribe, no cost. It simply notifies you of the next show and what we will be on that show. But the likes give us affirmation that we've met your needs. Okay, these are edutainment shows. These are edutainment shows. The purpose of edutainment shows, of course, is intended to what? Inspire, to educate. Yeah. Okay, to inspire, to educate, to entertain, there you are, and to stimulate growth in our communities. So I commend the Motivator Show to you. And remember, this is where we translate our words into action. And remember, success is ours for the taking.
Bye.